Hello, class. My name is William Cook, and this is my discussion board, week 4. And we're continuing the research that I've done on David Crockett and the Alamo. I've kind of expanded a little bit before I've just kind of zeroed in on David Crockett and his contribution to the Alamo and what he was versus what the legend was. And in this research, I was kind of led another direction. Who were the other men at the Alamo? Well, there was a lot of players, a lot of significant people, some of them being James Bowie, who was a legend in his own right, credited for creating the Bowie knife. Great story there. I won't get too into it because that's a distraction from my research, but it's definitely a neat story looking up James Bowie and the Bowie knife. William B. Travis was the military leader and lawyer who had his own struggles. He was tasked with leading and defending the fort. He was a lawyer and an officer in the Texas Army. There was also a group of men that I feel have been completely undervalued, and that was Crockett's band, and the Tennessee Volunteers. Some people just kind of associated him with David Crockett. That's not exactly the case. With every story, there's always a little bit more. One of them that I want to cover specifically was a man named Micaiah Autry, and he was a man that believed to have come in. He's been portrayed in movies to have come in with David Crockett. There was the famous Alamo movie recently with Billy Bob Thornton, where he appears to be his sponsor or his manager type deal. Says famously he prefers David Crockett. Well, these two did not ride in together, actually. Autry came on his own, and there was actually letters that he had written home about David Crockett, kind of suspicious about who he was, what he was out there for, and for a while hadn't even arrived at his post in Behar. And there was question on whether David Crockett would even come. Now, I will say, further letters home did describe Autry as looking at David Crockett very favorably. Said they came in trying to hunt buffalo in Texas, however, it was all drawn up, but he came in with smiles, was happy to serve his post, was a very honorable man. But this is just, he was overlooked by David Crockett for David Crockett's fame, his legend that was built up around him, and he just kind of got lumped in with David Crockett, when realistically David Crockett came with a very small group, one including his nephew. A lot of significant players in the Alamo. Some of the research that I did when we look at the two resources was Project Muse and Oxford Academic. Now, the Oxford Academic, I only pulled one source. I didn't find too much on David Crockett, or the Alamo rather, but I did find a book called Dangerous Ground, Squatters, Statesmen, and the Antebellum Rupture of the American Democracy. There's only a chapter on David Crockett, and it was really about the Whig Party and why he left and who he came with. And one significant piece that this contributed was a reason of why. They were looking for land. A lot of these people were just looking for land. They ended up at the Alamo. Project Muse, I was able to find a lot more resources, to include a cool one. Phil Collins, the famous rock star, was actually a collector of David Crockett gear. He grew up watching David Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, ended up getting an autographed saddle from Alamo players and built a huge collection. That was a really cool book. I didn't use that for my sources. I did use David Crockett in Texas, his search for new land. This is probably the most recent work on David Crockett that offers any significant insight on who he was. It actually explores letters and documents from David Crockett's family after he was here. And he kind of, reevaluates the way Autry looks at David Crockett as an honorable man, smiles, rallying the troops. He had a little bit of a political career in him, so he knew how to do that. And this offers a great source. It's written by Alan J. Weiner, and it's an amazing piece of evidence that offers us more of who David Crockett was. And then Sacrificed at the Alamo, Tragedy and Triumph in the Texas Revolution. Again, exploring the players in the game. This was written in 2020. Project Muse offers a lot of information, and I'm very excited, looking forward to expanding my research on David Crockett and the fellow men that served with him. Thank you.